Alright, good afternoon everybody. Today is Wednesday, the 14th day of August, 2024. Now, there's a bunch of things that I want to show you today. Some new things that you don't have access to yet. Some new things, some other things that you do have access to, and just to sort of go over some things with you. But before I get started, this is Target View Trades. If you have not taken a trial, go here to targetviewtrades.com, and on the home page, just go down to right here. Here's the trial. You can get started for $25 after the 3-day trial. Get a free 3-day trial, whether you do the monthly at $90 a month or the weekly at $25 a week. The weekly is more expensive, but it allows you to get in there and get a taste of it for a full week, plus a 3-day trial, for just $25 if you want to. Most people, after they do the trial, and if they sign on for the weekly after they do the trial, they sign on for the monthly. They just change to the monthly because it's 10% cheaper. And then eventually they sign on for the annual because that is also 10% cheaper. Well, it's actually 20-something% cheaper than the weekly. But either way, you get the picture. Go here to targetviewtrades.com. Sign up for the trial. Right here, the trial is free. Now, you have to have TradingView charts. You have to have TradingView charts to take the trial. All right. If you don't have TradingView charts, again, go to targetviewtrades.com, click on Getting Charts. Getting Charts, click right here, TradingView Charts. There is a free version that you can sign up for. With the free version, you can use our stuff with the free version if you want to. You will have to get data if you're going to be trading futures. If you're not trading futures, then you don't need to pay anything for anything, really. You can get the free version and sign up for the trial and use it there. But if you're going to trade futures, you need to get data for futures. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. If you want to have more than one chart and you want to have the alerts, multiple alerts, and you want to have multiple indicators, then you're going to have to sign up for the Essential. The Essential, don't do it on an annual basis right away. Do it on a monthly basis to begin with. It's $15 a month for that. The Plus is what most people get because then you can have more than one chart. You can have a whole bunch of alerts, 100 price alerts, 100 technical alerts. You can have a whole bunch of indicators if you want. I have the premium, but I need the premium. You guys don't, unless you do live streams and stuff like that. So I would say get the basic if you really want to get it totally free. You're not going to be able to get much as far as indicators and alerts. You might be able to get one alert, you might not even be able to get that. But I know you'll be able to get at least one indicator, and that's enough to get what you need. Alright, that's that. Now I want to show you quickly again, how did I get to this page? That's way over here. To get the charts, to get the data for the charts. Alright, to get the data for the charts, which you're going to need if you trade futures. Now, this is Netflix. You don't need to pay anything to get the data for Netflix. But to get data for futures, click over here. Hopefully this is going to catch up. It got stuck on me a minute ago, too. What is going on with this? I hit wait, and hopefully it's going to catch up here. This happened the last time. There. Okay, it looks like it just caught up. Alright, go over here. You go to TV Trades. Well, for you, whatever it is, whatever your symbol is right there. That you need to give that to me, by the way. Go to Account and Billing, and when you go to this page, it is going to be right here. Get real-time data, and this is what you need for futures right here. It's $7 a month. Alright, $7 a month. That's a great deal for real-time data. $7 a month. That's all you have to do. Alright, so let's go back here where we were just a minute ago on Netflix, and we'll get into it. Now, going over here, there is one thing. Do I have it for Ninja as well? I do not, Abe. I'm not putting it on Ninja. I'm not putting it on anything other than TradingView. Alright, sorry about that. I know there's a lot of guys that are out there that have followed me for the years, and over the last more than a decade, the stuff that I've done has also been on Ninja, but this is not going to be. The problem with that is that if I make a change, like if I make a change in this, like I've been making a lot of changes in this to improve things, I don't write the Ninja code myself. I have to farm that out, and so I have to send it out to somebody, and I send it out to this guy, and then he gives me an estimate, and then he gives me like some sort of date when he's going to have it done by. It's not something I do myself, and I don't want to have to maintain it on more than one platform as I keep moving forward with stuff, right? So the TradingView charts are dirt cheap. Get TradingView charts. They're better than Ninja, in my opinion. You do trade only the MES and MNQ and also chart trade. Okay? Well, they have all that. TradingView has all that, and I'll show you. In a few minutes here, I'll show you. I'll show you something about that, Abe. Okay, so hang around, stick around, and I'll show you all that stuff. All right. So I went through all the beginning stuff. Now, what I want to show you guys. Well, first, I mean, you know all this, right? When you just put TV trades on, this is what the chart looks like with nothing on it. All right. For somebody who's brand new, this is what a chart looks like with nothing on it. When you first sign up, you go to, I think Apple is what they defaulted to. But either way, once you give me your TradingView login ID, whatever that information is over there, then you're gonna be able to go here to invite only, and this is what TV trades looks like. If you just put on the basic TV trades, I just clicked it one time. Now it's gonna land on my chart here in just a minute. There it is. All right. By default, it shows 3 targets. It shows the long entry, the stop, the points, and 3 targets. And it only shows long trades by default. Alright, so the last long trade on Netflix was back here. That was earlier this morning at 10:49. It said you get long right here at 655.73 with a stop, a dollar stop at 654.72. And this is on a 50 range bar, by the way. Okay, a 50 range bar. I'll explain that in a minute. Mark, are you in here right now? Mark. You are in here. Good. Okay, this is on a 50 range bar. And what that means is every bar is 50 cents. With range bars, when you're talking about stocks, every tick is 1 cent. Okay? So it's important that you understand that when you're talking about equities or stocks with range bars, every tick is 1 cent. So the bigger the bar, I mean the bigger the dollar amount, the bigger the bar size you're going to want to use. Okay? And the same thing goes for cryptos. You know, the bigger it is, like with Bitcoin, I use a 10,000 range bar. Alright, and every bar is then $100, I think, something like that. Alright, so this is what it looks like by default. By default, you're going to need an arrow that suggests when you should take a trade. And in this case right here, because there was blue on a red background, you would have gotten a notice ahead of time saying, alright, there's a trade coming up. Get ready for a long trade. Alright, possible long trade coming up is what it says. Long trade coming soon or something like that is the actual alert. And so then it triggers and it gives you the alert. And then you can put your trade on. Alright, now this is a 50 range bar. With range bars, I feel like I'm talking really fast. With range bars, there is no time element associated with the bar. Okay, so this bar right here took well, it just took 20 seconds to actually create, right, at the beginning of the day. Well, toward the beginning of the day. This range bar, this 50 cent move right here took 20 seconds to happen. The next bar actually began right here, and then it pulled back a little bit, about 40 cents, before it made the move the rest of the way up. Right, this one right here pulled back, not 40 cents, just, I don't know, about 10 cents before it made a 30 or 40 cent move up to get to the next bar. Now with range bars, to get to the next bar, it has to exceed the top or the bottom of the bar. Alright, every bar has to close at the top or the bottom to get to the next bar. That's how range bars work. You decide how big each bar is going to be ahead of time, so it has to make that much of a move in price to get to the next bar, whether it's going up or down. See this right here? Sniper long, next up close. That's next up close on a 7 range YM. Saying the next bar that closes up will be a long trade. That's going to come into play here in just a minute. Alright? That kind of an alert and that kind of information is going to come into play in just a minute. You see the time, 15:08:57. So we'll just wait. Assuming that the next bar is going to be an up close, probably on the 7 range YM. I'm not looking at the 7 range YM, but so I just wanted to go through all this basic stuff so you guys understand. This is how it all starts, right? It starts here, very basic, and this is for equities. And you can do this for anything, whether you do it for futures, equities, stocks, forex, ETFs, whatever you want to trade with. It's going to give you this kind of an indication. And you can just do it like that. And you can do it on whatever time frame you want. You know, if you want to trade options based on this stuff, and you want to do larger time frames, like say you want to do, a monthly option or something like that, well then you're going to put it on like a minute-based thing, a 5-minute or a 30-minute or something like that. And in here you get the same information when it loads up here. You'll see you get the same information. Eventually. Okay. Well, you get the same information, except we don't have any here. But it should give more data than this. I don't know why it's not. Oh, okay. This is because we're not at the end. Here we go. If we go all the way to the end now. There it is. You get the same information. Alright. And in this case, your stop's going to be a little bit bigger. Well, actually, this case here on a 5-minute, your stop is only $1.23, where before it was $1, now it's $1.23. The stop in this case with this arrow is based upon the low of the prior bar, the bar before the trigger. Okay? That's what the stop is based on in this case. Now, hang on. Looks like there's a question up there. Wayne, something... No sound. We'll watch and replay. Okay, Wayne. Let me just type a message to him. Okay, it will be on the website later today. And it will be on the website later today. Okay, Wayne's having issues. But you see, when you're trading on larger time frames, if you're trading like ETFs or if you're trading stuff like options, if you want to buy call options when you get a long indication, you're going to want this to be, some bigger time frame. So the call option is going to have some room to go. Now, the targets all work, based upon the same basic stuff. They all work the same. Like it's going to give you on a larger time frame, it's going to have, pivots usually going to be farther away on a larger time frame. So it's going to still work off the prior swing highs and lows to find your pivots for you, to find your targets for you. Okay, and so that's how you would do it if you were going to be trading options and whatnot. Now, the majority of the people that follow me here, if you get stopped out but the trade is still on, should you re-enter? Well, that is in your Mark. That is up to you. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. But that's because of the way that I trade. Now, my risk management strategy is really aggressive, so I would not do that with my risk management strategy. But yours may be different. And there's, I know, from Mark over the past couple of months while we've been discussing things, you're trying to define yourself as a trader right now and figure out who you are as a trader. As far as trading options, trading futures, trading stocks, trading ETFs, that is a road that you're going down. And I can help guide you down that road, but it's going to be biased on what I've done successfully in my life. And I have the most success trading futures because that's what I've been doing every day for for decades. Okay, great, Wayne. But I know how to do all the other stuff, and I do all the other stuff. It's just I have more success with futures because I do it every day. So I can guide you with futures, and I can guide you with the technical aspect of trading. But what you're talking about, your own trading plan, you're going to have to create on your own what you're comfortable with doing. I would not re-enter. If I got in something, like let's say I got into this and it stopped me out right here, if my stop were right there instead of being down here where it should be, if it stopped me out right there, I would not re-enter. Alright? That's just the way I trade. Excuse me. But if that's in your plan, if your plan says, okay, well it's still blue and it hasn't given me a red bar yet, it hasn't turned bearish yet, it hasn't given me a sell signal yet, then I'm just going to assume it's going to keep going up. I don't think that's a good assumption to make. I don't think that it's honestly, I don't think that's a good way to trade. But that's up to you. I think run it till it runs out of steam. And when it runs out of steam, wait until it picks up steam going in another direction. That's the way that I do it. Okay. For future sniper trades, what range do you find has the most success? Hang on, let me see the whole question. has the most success. You've been using the 7 range for the S and the 50 range for the NQ for sniper trades. If you're non-sniper, you use a 7 range for the S and 15 range for NQ. What do I think? Okay, let me get to that in a minute, okay? I'm going to get to all the sniper stuff in just a minute. I want to cover this stuff first. And the sniper stuff, there's a lot of stuff going on with the sniper. And I'm actually thinking about breaking all the sniper stuff out and making it its own thing. Because it's sort of like taking on a life of its own. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, I mean, every little bit of it is good. And I just want you to see and be able to take advantage of as much of it as you can without it being overwhelming. Like this right here, you see how this just gave a notice right here that said 7 range sniper short nicks down close. So I'm able to tell you with the alert exactly where to take the trade ahead of time. That's where I want it to be. And then on the next bar, it says sniper short down close. It's telling you right there, you should be short. You should have put your order on, your sell stop limit on right there, and you should be short right there. That's what it's telling you. That's where I want it to be. Okay. Now that's the part that I'm still working on. I thought I'd have it all done by today, but but I had an emergency last night. I ended up in the emergency room and stuff like that, so I didn't actually finish it. Is Sniper going to be like an ATM machine? Kinda, I think. That's John. That's what I'm aiming for all of you guys. You all have your own. That's what I'm aiming for. No, it wasn't my health. I wasn't there for me. I was there. It was my father-in-law. He got rushed to the emergency room last night, and so I ended up in there all night. No, I'm knock on wood. I'm good and healthy. So you don't have to worry about me. And that's another thing. The way I've set this up, if you guys sign on with me, and I get hit by a truck or something like that, and I'm no longer functioning, your stuff is set to non-expiring. So as long as you have a TradingView account that's active, then your stuff is not going to expire. I know that's a question that people have for me. What happens if something happens to me? Your stuff is set for non-expiring. You won't get any more improvements on it, but that's the way it is for everybody that signs up, whether you're on the trial or whether you're on actively subscribed. Everybody that starts out with the trial, the assumption is that you're just going to stay on after the trial because you're going to love it so much and you're going to just see that there's so much opportunity that you're just going to want to stay. All right, now back to I hope I don't get hit either. I got some really good stuff, so I'm hoping I'll be able to keep helping you guys as I help myself. And again, that's why it keeps evolving, because I trade for a living. What I make from doing this stuff for you guys, $25 is nothing. I could be charging a lot more than $25. A lot more than $25. I could be, back when I first started trading futures, before I really knew what was going on, I was paying $50 a day just to sit in a room with a guy for an hour a day. $50 a day just to sit in a room with him. And he did nothing but just let his charts run. You could just see his charts run. That was all. So $25 a week is dirt cheap for everybody to get started. Of course, that was a long time ago, and things have changed. But anyway, I digress. Back here, I just wanted to point out, just putting it on the charts to begin with, you don't have to do anything. Alright, this is what it looks like if you just have the basic TV trades. This is what it looks like. Alright, inside the TV trades settings in here, if you want to have shorting opportunities, you just click that and it'll show some shorting arrows. I don't know if it's going to do it on the 5-minute, but we'll go back to the 50 range and you'll see some nice shorting arrows probably. There they are, shorting opportunities. There just came one right here. This is Netflix, by the way. So most people don't short stocks, but they can buy put options on stocks. So if you get one of these on a larger time frame, you know what, a 50-cent bar or a 50 range bar, it's not really a great time frame to be buying puts and calls with. But if you go up to a larger time frame, like a 250, so in this case every bar is $2.50. When you get one of these and you see prices dropping from 621 down to 610, No, that's a significant change if you have options. Right there, you could probably make 20-30% right there in that move if you're trading options. The same thing on the other side. If you're buying, if you're buying calls here, same thing, right? So it's all relative to what you're trading, what kind of instrument you're doing, what you're using. But if you want to have shorting opportunities, it's in here. This is the basic TV trades. It's not the beta. All right. It's in the beta also. All this stuff is in the beta also. Everything that I'm showing you in here is in the beta as well. But the beta has more things. The risk reward, you can throw the risk reward on here. It's going to show right up in here. Now the risk reward is, what it's showing you is the difference between the entry and the stop. It's reward. The entry is showing you the difference between the entry and the first target divided by the entry and the stop. You really want that number to be greater than 1 or greater. That's the ideal risk reward is going to be 1 or greater. So your risk and reward, the difference between your entry and the stop and the difference between your entry and the first target are equal or greater. Okay. Okay. If you use puts and short depending on the price of the stock, then that's what you need to know, Wayne. The bigger the time frame, like this is a 250 range, so every bar is $2.50. If you go up to a 500 range, every bar is $5. So that's the kind of thing that you're looking at, okay? And the mid-trend trade, if you miss the beginning of the trade, you can check this mid-trend trade right here. And when it loads up, there it is. I don't see any in here yet, but the mid-trend trade, I might have it turned off by accident. The actual style for the mid-trend trade. Oh, it's on. Okay, we're just not showing any in this time frame right now yet. Okay, but the mid-trend trade will happen if you end up missing the first one, or if it doesn't trigger. And this is a thing. It might not trigger right here at the color change. The color change tells you what the longer-term direction is. It does not necessarily mean you're going to get a trigger. Mark, this was one of the questions that you had asked last week. You had emailed to me. You're not always going to get a trigger on a color change. All right, the color change tells you that the longer term direction has changed, but you don't always get a trigger on it. And it's because the price action leading up to it. See this? Sniper short, next down close. No, the next alert should be sniper short on a down close is what the next alert should be. But in here, the price action leading up to this change has to be right for you to get this. It wasn't right here. This wasn't the right price action right here. It didn't go in the right sequence. Okay, and it kept you out of a choppy period right here. Got you right in back here, but it kept you out of that choppy period. Now if we bump this down a little bit so you can see some of the mid-trend trade stuff, they should be triggering on in here. I don't know why they're not. But let's just shut that off and we'll go to the beta. Alright. In the beta, I put on 5 targets in the beta. And I have some other things shown in here in the beta. Now in here, all the stuff that I was just showing you, the mid-trend trade, we'll pop that on and see if it shows up on this one. Yeah, there's a mid-trend trade right here. That green arrow right there is a mid-trend trade. This green arrow over here is a mid-trend trade. And the fuchsia arrows for the short trades are mid-trend trades. Alright, we don't have the short trades on here. Here it is. So we should have probably a mid-trend trade showing with a fuchsia arrow here. There's a couple of them right there. Those are mid-trend trades showing in there. Alright, so the mid-trend trade is if you miss the first one, for whatever reason, you miss the first, I'm going to get into the snipe stuff, Shaba. I'm going to get into the snipe stuff in a few minutes, okay? If you miss the first trade, that's when the mid-trend trades come into play. And the mid-trend trades were a big deal when I first did them, alright? Because originally I just had the beginning of the trend. You have that one, and you have that one. You had the blue and the red, and that's all you had. And so I made it evolve a little bit more into the mid-trend trades. And then, we're all looking for the same thing, right? We all want to have the most opportunity. And so originally when I created this, I created it for stocks, not so much futures. But then, I've been doing futures for so long. I have a lot of people that have been doing futures with me for over a decade, and they started doing this with me, and so they want to see it on futures. So futures is a little bit different animal. It's a lot different animal, really. You thought beta is the sniper, and is one of the videos you thought I said don't use the MTT. I was saying don't use them together, okay, and I'm getting to that, Wayne. I was showing you this for the stocks, this for equities. Alright, when you get to the futures, and if you're going to be doing the sniper stuff, alright, you should probably shut off the mid-trend trades. Alright, don't do mid-trend trades when you're doing the sniper stuff, because some of the arrows are going to be overlapping, and even the colors will be the same in some cases. You can shut off the longs and shorts also. You can leave the target lines on if you want, but to have target lines, you got to have either the long or the short, because the target lines are based upon the last either red or blue arrow that trigger. But as far as the sniper goes, now I'm waiting for it to catch up. It's got to get rid of all the blue arrows here. Okay, there. All right, now I left these pivots on here so you could just see the pivots are something that you can still use. You know, there are two levels of sniping. There's actually 3 now, but there are 2 levels of sniping in the beta that you guys can use right now, and I'm going to show you another one. But the first level is just this one. This is a conservative level of sniping, and this, when you see the arrows that are associated with this one, what are we on? We're on a 50 range Netflix. Okay, well, you see the arrow that's associated with the fuchsia arrow there and green arrows there. That's the same as the mid-trend trade arrows. So I didn't want you to have the mid-trend trade arrows at the same time because they're the same color. Okay, Wayne. Okay, great, Javon. So this is the conservative sniper. All right, this is a conservative sniper, and the way that the sniper is right now in the beta, you know, the background color doesn't really matter. All right, in the beta right now, you can have longs and shorts at any time. All right, you can have long trades or short trades at any time. Now, when you get one of these, you can leave these these pivots on if you want to, so you can use those for target material. Because you see this little black dot right here? If you don't have those first, either one or both of these first 2 checked right here, you're not going to have the target table. You're not going to get all that information. All the information in the target table is based upon these. This is going to be the blue arrow, and this is going to be the red arrow. All right? It's based upon the information from when these arrows trigger. From here, it goes back and looks at all the past pivots. It does all the math based on all that stuff and tells you all this information. All right, and once you have that on, you can then put the target lines on if you want to. Okay, but they're all based upon the last blue or red arrow. The information in the target table is based upon the last blue or red arrow. All right, so it's important that you understand that little piece of it. If you don't have the target table on, if you don't have the blue or red arrows on, that's fine. You don't have to have them on. If you're going to go with the sniping, you don't have to have them on. But you can leave these on, so you can still use those for targets. Like if you got to snipe, let's say you got to snipe right in here. You know this is a target area right here, and this is a target area right here. And this is a target area up here, and this is a target area over here. Right? You have all that information right there at your fingertips. Okay, or if you get a snipe up here, you know this is a target area. You know that this over here is a target area. This over here would be a target area. Okay, so you have all that information there at your fingertips. If you want to do it that way, you don't have to. You can leave the other ones on. As a matter of fact, if you're thinking that you're only gonna, if you're thinking you're in a strong downtrend, you're only gonna take shorts, just leave the short one on, and then it'll only give you the short targets based upon the last red arrow. It'll tell you, it'll do all that looking back for you, and it'll tell you where all the targets are. So if you start getting some snipes on the short side here, it's going to tell you where the targets are. Okay? I just want to show you how to pull it all together so you can use all these little pieces all at the same time. Alright? You can use the pivots with or without having the table on there. Alright, the pivot is right down here. Draw pivot labels. Okay? Alright, so this is a conservative sniper. Alright, you see it's a conservative one. It doesn't happen again and again and again, typically. And one other thing about the sniper that you need to understand. I didn't go over this with the bias level. You can have this bias level on for these up here and the mid-trend trades. You can have the bias level on or off. With the sniper, the bias level is always on. It's always on. And what that means is that 233 number right there, it's not really a random number, it's a fib number. And it's kind of toward the beginning of the fib numbers. If you're going through the first 20 fib numbers, it's toward the beginning of that. But you can change that as you want to, but what it means is this. If you, sorry, I'm going to do it this way. It's a simple moving average, right? Simple moving average, and if you throw a simple moving average on here, and we'll make it a 233, what it means is that it's only going to give you long trades above the 233, and it's only going to give you short trades below the 233. That's what it means, alright, for the snipes. You see how there's no short snipes up here. There's no magenta ones that are above the 233 right there. You see that? And there won't be, because that is always on when it comes to the sniper. And when you start getting below it, there's not going to be any green snipes. Alright, you see there's no green snipes down here below it. That's what that means. Now, the whole idea behind the TV trades, behind the target view trades, hang on, I'm just going to catch up. The whole idea behind the target view trades is that you don't have any indicators on the chart. Alright? All you have are things that tell you when to go, when to get in the trade, when to not get in the trade. Okay, Jenny. When to get in the trade and when to not get in the trade. That's all you have. You don't have indicators saying, oh, that's almost there, it's almost a trade, it's almost a trade, where you might make a bad decision and take it even though it's almost there and it's not. Or you might see it and say, oh, that's just barely there, and then not do it when you should do it. All that stuff that happens between your ears, we want to take that out. We want to remove that and say, okay, is there an arrow that says to go? There is. Hey, I'm going to go. It says what the stop is. It says how big the stop should be. All that stuff is done for you. You don't have to think about that anymore. That's the whole idea behind TV trades. Now it's 3:32, so I've gone over half an hour and I haven't got to any of the sniper stuff yet. Jenny, let me answer your question because that'll probably be the last of the non-sniper things. Okay? You never check the bias box in inputs. You actually never train the bias box check. To me, that is off. Okay. With the sniper, you don't have an option to check it or not check it. You have an option to change it, but you don't have an option to check it or not check it. This bias level right here is for this bias level. It's not the snipe bias level. This right here, if you hover over this, it says it's always on. As a matter of fact, all these little eyes that are in here, they have information about everything that it's on. It describes what it's about. Alright, number of targets to display, all that stuff, all that stuff. If it has an eye, that means I've taken the time to write a description for you so you will understand what the heck is going on with that. Alright, so look at that stuff. Pay attention to that stuff. Alright, I don't know if I did one for the hot tips, Jenny. I didn't. Okay, so the hot tips, she just asked me about this. So let me just, let me put on a hot tip, potentially hot tip thing. The mid-trend trades can also have hot tips. Alright, but let's go in here and the sniper, let's not do that. We'll take off the sniper. The sniper is not going to have hot tips. This can have a hot tip, that can have a hot tip, and that can have a hot tip. Now what the hot tip means, just let it populate, it's going to take it a second here. What the hot tip means is if you happen to have a hot tip, let me make sure I have the hot tips turned on in the other side too. Oh, I don't. Okay, so if you happen to have the hot tips turned on, what that means is the tip's wet, it's white hot. White hot, it's white hot. I almost said wet hot. It's white hot. That means typically when you get a hot tip, the trade is going to run a little bit longer. So you can let it run out until it gets to that target, maybe the second target. Alright, that's what the hot tips mean. Right? Whether they're going long or short, whether they're mid-trend trade or at the beginning of the trend, that's what they mean. Okay? That is what the hot tips mean. Well, Mark, it depends how you have it turned on. Let me just go through this really quick. With the hot tips first, in inputs, I don't think there's anything in here for inputs. There's not. Okay, it's all in style. So you have to turn it on here, hot tip long, hot tip short, and hot tip mid-trend trade. That's all you have to do is just turn that on. You don't have to change anything else. And it looks at all the current conditions, and it'll let you know Um, it'll let you know if it's likely to keep going in that direction or not. Okay. Where do you put on the targets to the charts? The targets to the charts go on automatically. These targets right here, all right, they go on automatically from the blue and red arrows. Blue and red arrows only. If you don't have a blue and red arrow showing, that's these two right here. If you don't have the blue and red arrow showing, you're not going to have a target box. Right? If I shut those off, you'll have no target box once it figures it out. You won't have any mid-trend trades either, I don't think. It's working it out still. You see that thing going around? There it is. So you don't have a target box, and you don't have any mid-trend trades either. Okay? And you won't have any hot tips either. Alright? So all that goes away when you shut these off. If you turn those on, then the target box fills up with from 1 to 3 targets. The default, from 1 to 5 targets. The default is 3, but it goes from 1 to 5 targets. Will display in the box. If there are no targets, like if you're at all-time highs and there are no targets, you're just going to get that little black dot. It won't show anything. Okay, and we've had a lot of that lately, where we've been all-time highs and it doesn't show anything in there. All right. Okay. Now, one of the other things that's in the beta is the pivot look back. If you're finding that these targets are too far away and the stops are too big for you, you can change this pivot look back to be smaller, and that is going to try to find smaller targets that are nearer to you. Okay, that's what the pivot look back does. The snipe length, you can leave that alone at 17. I might take that right out of there so you don't have any option with that in the future. Alright. So, the orange numbers I show. What orange numbers I show? I mean these things? Oh, those are pivots. You can put those on at any time. Those are right here, draw pivot labels. Alright, you can put those on and off at any time. They're there by themselves. That is price action that has already happened. So they don't get drawn ahead of time, they get drawn after the fact. And this pivot look back kind of gives you an idea of how much farther it's got to go to give you a pivot. You know, how many bars you have to get another pivot. It looks back to try to find that pivot. Okay. So you can draw that at any time, or you can take them off at any time. It doesn't matter what else you have checked. You could have just that checked. Right? If we go up here and we shut everything else off, you can have just the pivots on if you want. We'll see when it actually catches up. I don't know why my computer is so slow every time I do one of these webinars. But now we're going to get into the sniper stuff, and that's really going to slow my computer down. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes into the sniping. Alright, so this was all just using Netflix. I haven't even gotten into the futures yet. The targets are made from them. The targets are derived from them, but it goes back and finds all that information for you. You know, you don't have to go back and look for it. They can be used as targets because that's what the targets are made from. And the target goes back and looks at all those pivot points. The code goes back and looks at all those pivot points and determines the targets for you in order. I put them in order for you. Okay, so now I started to get into the sniping just a little bit. I showed you the conservative sniper, right? That's this guy right here. And that's the one that's got the same color arrows as a mid-trend trade. That's why I was saying you don't want to have that on with the mid-trend trade. Right? So we'll shut that one off. And now the aggressive sniper, that's the one that's got the black arrows. Alright, and I'll do it right here on the Netflix. And I want to show you something once it pops up here. See, it's still going around and around right there. Once it pops up. Hang on. Is Gary in here right now? I just saw a question. Oops, I will call her that too. Yeah, Gary, you are in here. Okay, I just saw your text message, but I didn't see the whole text message. Anyway, the black arrows, right? This is in the beta version, right? This is in TV Trades beta, and this is the aggressive sniper. Now, these or what I was showing you a few minutes ago, you don't have to have the background on this because the background doesn't really indicate what direction you should be looking to trade. Whereas with the with the mid-trend trade and the red and blue arrows, the background shows you the long-term direction, and you would only be having long trades in blue and short trades in red. Whereas you can see, obviously, in here you get a short trade here that did not work out in blue. You get a long trade here that did not work out in red. But sometimes they do work out. Now that's something that I'm working on. I'm trying to figure out whether I should make that a thing, where you don't get long trades in the red and you don't get short trades in the blue. But you can see a lot of times the short trades in the blue do work out and the long trades in the red do work out. They're at trend change periods. So I'm still working out the details on that. Now, how many of you guys are actually using the sniper, in the beta version? Okay. Okay. Wayne, the beta, the bias box has nothing to do with this. Alright, whether you enable this bias level or not has nothing to do with these arrows. It's got nothing to do with the sniper arrows at all. This bias level right here, the snipe bias level, that's got to do with these. So if you make this, like, just add a 0 onto it. So anything above the 2,330 moving average is going to give you a long trade. I won't even let you go that high. Well, anything above, let's say, a 500 moving average. Okay, anything above a 500 moving average is going to give you a long trade, and anything below the 500 moving average will give you a short. But it's going to change things. Like right here, you can see right here the 500 moving average is going to be going sideways right here and changing directions, because now you only have long trades above it. You only have long trades above it. You don't have any more short trades until over here. The 500 moving average must have just swapped right here. All right. Now, that's the way that works, and it's always on. I have the 233 in there by default. I have the 233 in there. You can make it whatever you want. Okay, but 233 is a fair number. If you want to be more aggressive, you make it a smaller number. But did you see how those just changed right there when I punched that in? If you want to be more aggressive, you make it a smaller number. Now, again, if you don't have these checked, you're not going to have any targets showing. All right. And if you want to have the pivots, you can draw the pivot labels. They should still be showing right now, I think. They don't appear to be, but yeah, they're there. Okay, there they are. You should still be having pivots. At any time you anytime you check that box, you should have pivots. All right, and you can use these pivots for targets, like when you're here and you get a long trade right here, you can look left and see what the next pivot up is and use that. Now it's only going to give you so many pivots that you can look at right here apparently. But if you go all the way to the end, like right here, you have a long trade right here. You can use this as your target right here. You can use that as a target. You can use this as a target. This is a target. This is a target. If you want to do it that way, you can. All right. The conservative one is going to give you the fuchsia and green arrows. The aggressive is going to give you the black arrows. Alright. Now the way that I have this, it doesn't really give you any alerts that are going to let you know that these are coming. So you don't really know until after it happens. Okay? But what I'm working on, and this is what I wanted to show you today. This is one of the things I wanted to show you today. This is just regular TV trades beta with just the long arrow showing. So you get the one target table and all that. Until I uncheck it, then you don't get a target table at all. I created this new thing in here called super sniping. Now this uses the same bias level. All right, I think it does. And I'm still working on it. But what this does is it'll give you an alert before every trigger. It'll give you an alert. That's what you were seeing over here on the side. You were seeing all those alerts. And those alerts were actually for the YM And I did it on the 7 range just so you could see a whole bunch of alerts pop up. But what you're seeing, those things that are popping up over here on the side, what you're seeing in there are, once it finishes, here it is, all of these things. Like right in here, you would get an alert saying next up close is going to be a long. Then you get that one saying that's a long. Okay. Now if my alert thing pops out, my computer's really slow right now, it seems like. So I'm clicking on this hoping it's going to open up, and it hasn't. But anyway, that is what I'm working on. Now, to get this to this point, I have to trigger the actual indication from a different place that I'm triggering the aggressive sniper. They're really close. The aggressive sniper is usually triggered a bar after these. When they're coming from the same place, the aggressive sniper is usually triggered a bar after these. But these are usually going to be on your pivot bar, like that, right? And like that, and like that, and that, and that. They're usually going to be right on your pivot bar. So you stop on this, it's just going to be a little bit beyond the bar that got you into the trade. And you're going to get an alert, usually the bar right before it. See, I don't know what is going on with this. But usually the bar right before it, you're going to get an alert. Okay? Hang on, Gary. Let me go and read your text message. That is not from you. Hang on. That was somewhere else. Oh, crap. That was the Sam's Club thing that just came up. Alright, Gary, did you want me to answer that question right here? Because I can't find it anymore. It just got lost. If you have a question that you want me to answer in here, just type it in the box in here. Just copy and paste that into the question box. Okay. I'll be happy to answer it. I know there were some things that you would ask, like, do I have a room in the morning that I go over this stuff with? Like right here. Sniper long up. Well, first it's sniper long next up close is what it was saying. And that was this one right here, I believe. And then it said sniper long on the up close. And then it gave it right there. And this one didn't work out. But you see my computer is running a little slow right here, so these alerts are popping out a little bit delayed. But if my computer was running normally, they wouldn't be popping out delayed. So to answer your question, Gary, for Target View trades, I don't have a room that I do in the morning. I do these every Wednesday at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, but I don't have a room that I do in the morning. And I know there were some other questions that you had in that email that you sent to me that I didn't answer. So I will answer them at some point. If you want them answered right now, just type them into the question box. Copy and paste whatever you sent to me in that other message into the question box, and I'll answer it for you. Okay? And Wayne, but you check both the aggressive and on the sniper and the conservative ones, and you can change the color if you want to change the color. If you want to change the color for that, it is right in here. This is the aggressive sniper colors. This is the other sniper colors, the conservative sniper colors. You can change them right in here. And if you want to change the mid-trend trade colors and have those on at the same time, they're right down here. You can change them to be whatever you want in there. One thing that I didn't show you was the mid-trend trade also has a notice that you can check. That'll show up a bar before it most of the time. The mid-trend trade, you get a notification when you're trading stocks. You get a notification most of the time that you're going to have a trade coming. Alright, when I was talking about the stocks. Or whatever you're trading that on. Okay. Should our arrows be in the same spots as yours? It depends. If you're using the same time frame and you're on the same symbol, like this is a YM1 exclamation point. No, it depends. If you have all the things checked the same and all the settings the same, then yeah, things should be pretty much the same. If the date is the same, they should be. Jake. Okay. Alright. So what I wanted to show you was this. Alright. With this, you get a notification a bar ahead of time on every one of these. Every one of these, you're going to get a notification that says, if I could only open this thing up. See, every time I click on it, it freezes up the charts. This was working just fine earlier. There it is. Okay. So, right in here, you have sniper long next up close, and then the next up close, next bar that closes up, as long as the background is the right color, because with this, the background does matter. Right? You're only going to have longs when you have a blue background, you're only going to have shorts when you have a red background. So if you have sniper long next up close, and as long as the background stays the right color, then the next up close is going to give you a trigger. Right? This was the one that we looked at earlier. It gave that sniper long next up close, and then it turned down. And then, I believe, Dean 48, it gave a sniper short next down close, but it didn't right in here. You see it change color in here. Where it gave that indication, it was probably right in here where it gave that indication. On this bar right here is probably where it gave that indication, but then you didn't get the down close. Right, that was 1548, yeah, so it was this bar right here. The bar that gives you the alert about the next down close or next up close is usually going to be going in the, well, it has to be going in the opposite direction of the bar that's going to actually trigger it. Okay. So you're going to have a bar that closes down like this one, and that would be the one that says, okay, on the next up close, look for a trade. All right. Or over here you have a bar that closes up like that one, and that's the one that's going to say, okay, on the next down close, look for a trigger. All right. So it does all that a bar ahead of time. So like this one right here, this down close, 1550, it did give an indication right here. It said next up close. Now it just jammed up here, so you didn't get your up close yet, but in here somewhere, one of these bars, it said the next up close is going to be the trigger. Okay, and then when you get that trigger, you can take the trade. Now these do not line up with the other ones. I don't know why. Every time I do this webinar, it seems like, you know, I do webinars all day long, every day, and I don't get this in the morning when I do this, and I have, you know, a good group of people in there in the morning, and this doesn't happen to me in the morning. I don't know why it happens this time of the day. There's a lot of people that are using GoToWebinar at this time of the day, but anyway, encoding overloaded. That's what it says. Encoding overloaded. Turn down video settings or use a faster encoding preset. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it has something to do with, oh, I do know what it means. Okay. It's because I'm recording it with OBS. That's what's causing the problem. Alright. So am I sending out a new beta for these notices for sniper trades? When I get it ready. I thought I was going to have it done today. Ready for everybody. I mean, I could send it out the way it is right now for everybody, but I don't think it's ready for it yet. Okay. See this one right here where it said next up close, but then it changed colors? The next up close was with a red background. So that's not going to trigger a trade right there. Okay, that's not going to trigger a trade right there. Now, consider turning down video settings. So the problem is the recorder here. Or use a faster encoding preset. I don't know what that means. This was from today. This, in next week's webinar is called the Diamond Principle and how to get the most out of a trade. This was from a webinar that I did earlier today for those of you guys that were in that webinar today. This is the kind of stuff I'm going to be going into next week. Alright, you guys want to sign up for next week's webinar. You'll be able to do it today at some point. It'll be on the website. And in the follow-up email that gets sent out from this. I was just bringing that up so I could take a picture of that message that I'm getting so I can try to figure out what the heck it means. Hang on. Oh, now it's not showing the message. Okay, it's still not showing the message. And now it's showing the message, but it's not letting me take a screenshot. Alright. Oh, you know what? I'll just deal with this later. Alright. New questions. Mark, next week's webinar. Yeah, I'm gonna... It's to show you how to get the most out of the trade is what next week's webinar is about. Okay. And Martin, if you have any questions you want to ask me in here. I lost the one that popped up on my phone. I could only see the beginning of it, and I couldn't see the whole question. I got one from Donald Trump. I can see all of his message. Alright, so back to this. The whole idea behind this is to give you notification, preferably a bar ahead of time. I mean, you can see the thing says the next down close and the next up close. So hopefully a bar ahead of time so that you can get ready for the trade. With range bars, the whole idea behind range bars is you know how big every bar is going to be, so you can be proactive with your orders. Right? So if you get a thing that says next down close, and you know where the top of the next bar is, you know exactly where the bottom of the next bar is going to be. If you're using range bars, you know exactly where the bottom of the next bar is going to be. Alright? And so you can put your order on ahead of time and be proactive. That's what I want to do with this. So you can be proactive with your order, so you get your trades on ahead of time, so you know ahead of time what's going to happen. And you get your order there ahead of time, get ready to go. And like, you know, in here, we're on this bar right here. It said, it says this is at 1530 something. So there should be something here at 1530 something. Alright, well, let's go with one of the ones that I don't have to scroll on. There should be something right here at 1541. We'll go right here. We'll go with this one. Right here, where this bar was a down close right here at 1541. Sniper long up close. Alright, so the bar before that should have given you the warning. This is the one that gave you the trigger. This one right here, I believe that's one of the ones that we actually saw. On that down close right there at 1546, right here, sniper long next up close, 1546.15. That was that down close right there, and then the next bar said sniper long up close. So you know ahead of time that it's going to happen, so you can put your order on ahead of time. Okay, that is where I want it to be for you guys. The best range bar setting for sniper trading for the ES and the NQ futures. All right, well that is where things are going to be changing, Wayne, because I know that you're used to me using smaller time frames, like the 7 range and whatnot, but I don't recommend using the smaller time frames. When you're looking for, when you're sniping, it's okay because you're gonna keep your stops really small, but you're gonna get a whole bunch of trades doing that. Right now, if you're okay with getting a whole bunch of trades, then that's fine. You can keep it small. But for really active markets like the NQ, you know, when I'm trading 20 contracts in the morning with the NQ, like this morning I got 6 ticks to slip on. I only took 3 trades this morning on the NQ, and I got 6 ticks to slip on one of them. And so the market is just not liquid enough to do that. But if you're only trading a few contracts and the market's, not terribly liquid, if you're only trading a few, then it's okay. You can get away with it. But as you're going to see in the stuff in the morning, and what I'm recommending to people do is trade a little bit bigger time frame. You can have a little bit bigger stop. You can have fewer trades, but the trades are more meaningful. Like with the YM, if you trade like a 50 range, and this was, now it's really hung up. In response to a question I think that Martin had asked me through email last week. I think it was you, Martin, that asked me this. It might have been Mark. Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but somebody had asked me the question about how big of a stop to use and how do you determine how big of a stop to use. And my answer was, well, the stop size that I use is sort of inversely proportional to the bar size that I use. The smaller the bar, the bigger the stop, which doesn't make a lot of sense. The stop is never going to be bigger than, it's never going to be, the stop will never be smaller than what you expect out of a trade, so it'll never be smaller than the target. Did I say that backwards? I said that backwards. The stop will never be bigger than the target. Okay, but if the bar is like a 7 range bar, I use a 10 tick stop in the morning. So that is like 140% of the bar size. But if I use a 19 range bar in the morning, then my stop is 25 ticks. So that's like 120 something percent. And if I go up to a larger one, like let's say 100 range bar, then my stop's only going to be 110 ticks. Right? So that's 110%. So you see how it's inversely proportional. And the reason for that is that the larger the time frame, the more likely that the trigger is going to be on a pivot bar. Okay? The less likely you're going to have chop and going sideways within a pivot bar, or right after a pivot bar. Alright? When I get a chance, could I show my settings to see which arrows I have turned on? It looks like we don't have nearly the same amount of purple arrows. Okay, yeah, well this, you don't have this yet. Jake, you don't have this one yet. So yours are not going to be anything like this. This is a beta version that only I have right now. Okay, and my charts are completely locked up, so I can't really do that either. Sorry about that. The MYM and the 20 range and 30 range and the 50 range. Jenny, yeah, and remember the stop size between the different range bars. Like for a 20 range, you probably want to use a 30 stop. For a 30 range, you probably want to use a 35 stop. For a 50 range, probably a 55 stop, maybe a 60 stop. All right. The statement was I've been experimenting with different ranges on the MYM and MNQ and surprised by the difference in 20, 30, 50 ranges. My charts are completely locked up here, so I'm not going to be able to do anything else with the charts. But I will answer anybody else's questions, and it's 4 o'clock, so we're going to wrap it up anyway. I'm going to have to figure out this encoding thing. Error encoding overloaded. I'm going to take a picture of it with my phone. That's what I'll do. And then I will have it. What I was trying to do with the screenshot thing, I can do with my phone. Genius, huh? Surprised you guys didn't figure that out for me. I count on you guys for stuff like that, There. Picture done. Alright, so the next time I won't be getting that weight thing. I'll figure it out. But you see right here it says 7-range sniper long next up close. So now the next up close, as long as it's in a blue background, is going to trigger the trade. So right now, whatever bar it's on, you could have a buy stop limit 8 ticks from the bottom of the bar and be ready for the trade, right? You understand that, right? That's why I use range bars. All right. So you see the background color just changed because now it says down close. It was up close a second ago, but the background color had to have changed because now it says down close. So now you're in a red background. Okay, because those alerts are only going to trigger. The alerts are only going to trigger with the right color background, and the trades will only trigger with the right color background. So it just had to switch the background color there. I know my charts are locked up, and I'm sorry about that. And I'll work on that for next week's meeting. Speaking of next week's meeting, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Thank you all for coming. If you haven't taken a trial with us, take the trial. When I finish this thing, I will let everybody know when I finish with the latest version of the sniper that's going to give you the alerts. It's doing all this alert business for you, letting you know ahead of time and bar ahead of time. As I finish with that, I will let you know. I'll let everybody who is an active subscriber or anybody who's on the trial know that I've completed that. And when you want to use that, what you're going to have to do is go out and take the TV Trades beta off and then put the new one on. Just take it off and put it on. But Jake, as far as your question, this stuff that is right here is the new TV Trades beta. It's the latest one that I'm still creating. It's the one that has the alerts for every trade. Right? So it's a little bit different than the one that you have right now. This is called Super Sniper. And again, I'm probably going to take all the sniper stuff out and make it its own thing at some point, because it's just getting to be, it's taking on a life of its own, and it's getting to be a whole thing all by itself. So you can have the sniper stuff or not. And it's up to you. But we'll see how it goes. And guys, I'm sorry, my chart's just locked up completely on me right here. So I'm going to end the meeting. If anybody has any questions, you can email me at support@targetviewtrades.com. support@targetviewtrades.com. Okay. If you haven't taken the trial and you want to take the trial, go here to targetviewtrades.com. Click on this right here to take the trial, or that. Either one. Well, this one doesn't have a trial. I figure if you're signing on for a whole year, you already know it works. But if you want to take either one of these, they have a 3-day trial. And if you want to cancel it in the trial, just let me know. Okay, and I'll be happy to cancel it for you. There is no cost to sign up for the trial. All right. You have a nice night too. Hopefully everything will be. I really wanted to get this done for today. I wanted to get this part of it done for today, and it's close. I mean, you can see it working on my charts, and if my charts weren't up right now, you'd be able to see it punching out these alerts. But sadly, my encoding thing apparently is taking up a whole bunch of memory on my computer. So I'm going to wrap it up here, everybody. Thank you all for coming today. If you have any questions, email support@targetviewtrades.com. To sign up for the next thing, the website will have it. It'll be right in here shortly, in the next 15-20 minutes. You'll be able to sign up for next week's thing in here. It'll also be in an email, a follow-up email that's automatically sent to you. You'll be able to sign up from that too, to sign up for next week's meeting. And that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. It's 4:05. Thank you all so much for coming today, and I hope you all have a great week. Really, if you have any questions, just email me, okay? And I'll be happy to answer them. Martin, that goes for you too. Alright? I sort of got something. I think it went to one of the emails, and I got a preview of the email, and I only saw like the first line. It said following up, and that's all I saw. Alright. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.